Hello, namaste. This is Timothy Halloran. I'm an astrologer from Savannah, Georgia. This is a weekly astrological forecast. Today is Wednesday, October 7th. And I'm getting this video out as soon as I possibly can. This is an important week. The planetary energies are really painting a picture this week that I think is pretty telling. Yeah, there is some deep stuff that is going on. There are some profound realizations that can happen. There are turnarounds. There are developments that can really bring us into the new. So this week is the conclusion of this past month of eclipse season. And man, it's been an intense eclipse season. That lunar eclipse in Aries has really been bringing out the instinctual, the reactive, the fiery, the defensive parts of ourselves. And we've been dealing with this energy for the last month, and we're continuing to deal with some pressure this week, yes? So yesterday we had the moon move into Leo, and the moon and Venus are going to move out of Leo into Virgo tomorrow at the same time. Then Venus squares Saturn for the third time in the last 4 months. There is this culminating, completing time of the Venus retrograde cycle that has been going on since July. Venus has been transiting the sign of Leo for 4 months, which is a long time for Venus to transit any particular sign for that long. In the midst of her retrograde phase, she squared Saturn 3 times. The first 2 times were at the end of July. She is coming up to her third and final square with Saturn this Saturday. So yesterday we also had Mars opposite to Neptune, which we'll talk about, and we had the Sun square to Pluto. The Sun is moving through the Uranus-Pluto hotspot zone, as the Sun squared Pluto yesterday and is coming up to oppose Uranus this Sunday. The Sun transiting the Sun-Uranus hotspot zone is where we can really feel this squeeze. And the squeeze is on our individual, our identity, and our individual and identity is getting an evolutionary squeeze. Can we evolve? Can we change? Can we let go of the old that got in our way? And can we create the new that will better allow us to easier be in our own unique truth and simultaneously, and most importantly, be in harmonious, loving, ever-growing and learning relationships with other people. This Venus retrograde cycle does place emphasis, especially on our relationships to other people. This happens to be the area where we really get to learn. What are my values? What are your values? How are they learning? How are they sharing? How are they growing? We can cross-compare. We can see how our values agree and how they don't. And this is fundamentally important to function in relationship harmoniously, is we must have concrete, shared, accepted, we agree on the same relationship values, inside and outside. These challenges have been going on since July. Venus moving through the sign of Leo has been this sign that is creative, expressive, all about our own unique truth and how we give it. And this creative energy is fundamentally a sexual energy. It is a releasing of our own truth, our own life into the world in order to create something new. And I'm going to try to lower my voice and talk calmer today because I get comments a lot of the times that I sound like I'm yelling at people, but I'm just a passionate, excited person. I'm not trying to yell at you. Okay, moving on. So tomorrow, Moon and Venus push into Virgo at the same time, which is quite symbolic. There's going to be this shift tomorrow afternoon, Eastern Time, where we start thinking about values as they really relate to our deepest standards, our perfections. Yes, this is Virgo. We've already had this energy shifting into Virgo. Mars is already in Virgo opposing Neptune. What is this Mars-Neptune opposition? This makes us look at how well we are implementing our desires, our willpower, our masculine Mars, instinctful, reactionary energy, the hawk. How are we implementing that into our ideals, into our standards? And do our ideals and standards agree with one another? Or are our ideals, in this case Neptune in Pisces, which is our spiritual ideals, the be-all, end-all goals, who we want to be in absolute perfection, How does this agree or disagree with our actual willpower, our spontaneous desires, what we are actually choosing to do in the world? Our everyday choices is our free will, which is our willpower. It's very powerful. And yet are our deepest soul intentions in alignment with that masculine, instinctual, animalistic willpower? And what we might be realizing this week is that there is some disagreements here. There is disagreement between my ideals and my standards for perfection and what I'm capable of doing in the world, and the challenges that make it difficult to do so, and the conditioning that has been placed upon me that makes it difficult to do so. Particularly the conditioning is most important this week, as we have an underlying theme that has to do with the birth of new social standards. How can we function in relationships, in society, in human-human interactions in a way that actually better allows us simultaneous freedom and harmony? What we're talking about here is equality, and equality is some of the greatest work that we have come here at this particular time in order to disperse between sexes, classes, nations, different hierarchies. We're trying to achieve a platform of equality because equality is in service of love. It's a quality of love. And we want loving relationships. We want relationships that reflect our highest spiritual ideals. We want relationships that make us feel as though we are progressing upward in our own unfathomable way. Not keep repeating the same things and just that's how it is. That's the real world. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's a man's world. These are the type of issues that can be coming up. And this is this is a dissolving moon cycle leading into a new moon next Monday. 19 degrees of Libra. And this new moon Monday will be opposite to Uranus in Aries. This crumbling, this challenging that is the wrapping up of the eclipse season that's been going on for the last month, a real intense, reactive, evolutionary moon cycle, is now culminating and completing into a new moon in Libra on Monday, opposite to Uranus. And the intention of this new moon in Libra is, can we create equality in our relationships, in our social standards, in our world? And simultaneously, Uranus in Aries, opposing that new moon, is challenging us to integrate our own unique individuality with this harmony. And this is the main challenge of this week, and there is so much beneficial conversations that can lead to seeing different perspectives than we ever realized before, causing realizations to happen in how can we achieve this equality? How can we achieve this balance, this harmony, this beauty that is love? And that means there must be equality. Something that is beautiful is not all one way, and you can't look at anything else but the one thing that's sticking out to the side. That's not beauty, that's not harmony. Harmony and beauty has this flowing, dancing, natural, gentle. And so we want to incorporate this harmony and this intention to be able to share this beauty with one another, with our relationships, with our friends, with our family, and simultaneously we must own our unique, far out, not always easily understood, not always easily appreciated, particularly by the standards set by our culture and society. The uniqueness in us that makes us totally weird is our individual brilliance, and we cannot suppress any of that if we truly want to live in harmonious relationships. We must integrate our own brilliance, our own eccentricity, our own far outness. That maybe, this stuff goes far out. Human beings always go far out. We don't always choose to be who we are. Our choices have to do with how much we align with who we are. We don't choose the weird quirks that we are, but we do need to align and embody with those weird quirks because it is who we are. And by embodying who we are and bringing it into relationships in a way where we can be peaceful and listen to the other side and attempt this level of equality. And this is so critically important this week. We have to listen to the other side. You cannot defend your position again and again and again and ever expect to evolve. It will not happen. This Mars lunar eclipse, this whole last month, has been bringing out the reactiveness in us in many different respects. And this Venus square to Saturn, I mean, it's hard not to complain sometimes. Because Venus square to Saturn is, it sounds like it's complaining, but we have reality to look at. And sometimes this can be like you finally get something that you've been waiting for and it's not quite what you were hoping. Or, it's just that we keep thinking that this thing is going to change and it's going to be different now, and it keeps getting brought back to us. And so this Saturn-Venus square is there. And this Saturn-Venus square is the challenge that is bringing us out of the 4 months of Venus retrograde in Leo. It's going on since July. We are looking at the issues that have been challenging us in our relationships, in our own inner harmony since July. But particularly in relationships, it's very, very important for us to understand that there is a dynamic that is happening here between man and woman. This is a huge, huge thing that's going on at this particular time here, is women's rights, is social equality. And this is bringing us into some of the deeper, juicier points of what is actually happening that we can be a part of. We are co-creators in this equality happening here, but we are figuring out what we're doing as we're doing it. This is how life works. This is how it is being a pioneer. If you want to get the ball rolling forward and progress, you sometimes have to figure out what you're doing as you're doing it, because it's so dang cutting edge. So very important is we must have these conversations these weeks. Maybe they're people that we got hurt by. Maybe they're people that we shut down. Maybe people, caused the defensiveness in us. And then there could have been the tower, the crumbling, the separation, the Mars picking up his own sword and defending myself. And I can do it on my own. I don't need you. You're full of shit. We need to have balanced, attempting to be peaceful conversations, because the level of realization that we can have this week can be pretty illuminating. We can get in touch with really deep stuff that is going on, having to do with what it means to fundamentally be a human being, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, what it means to be in service of the movement that is bringing back the divine feminine principle at this time. Because that is the social justice and equality that many souls want to see. We all agree that love means that there should be a world of equality, and there's no better or worse than, lower class. It doesn't matter what happens to them. That is such unloving philosophy, and we're born into a male-dominant world. So we are doing a lot of reparations that go very, very deep into collective human conditioning. And all men and all women get conditioned by this collective human conditioning. And the collective human conditioning tells us, this is what's right, this is what's not, this is what you are expected to do, this is what you shouldn't do, and we conform. We get limited into these concepts that oftentimes are not in service of love or harmony. This world doesn't get it. This world needs a lot of fixing and balancing, and this is what we're doing this week. So there's another wonderful symbol that's going on this week, and that is Mercury stationing and turning direct, conjunct the moon's north node at 0 degrees Libra. So let's see, Friday Mercury turns direct. Tomorrow Mercury passes the moon's north node and stations there, and then passes it again on Friday. So this is a big symbol here. 0 degrees Libra, Mercury station, means that these conversations need to happen. These conversations are healing, they are evolving us, they're moving us into the future. And what does the future contain? Things can turn around. This is Mercury turning direct. An aha! Something gets explained, that something that explains a whole lot can happen through these types of conversations. And this is a new beginning. This is the culmination and completion of the moon's north node transiting through Libra through the last year and a half. We've been doing this. We want equality. We want a relationship, and simultaneously we don't want to suppress our unique individuality, our creativity, and our individual truth. We have to bridge these worlds of self and other. And this is what's going on. Lunar eclipse in Aries was Mars the sword. This is who I am. This is my truth. And you know what? It's also the masculine. And the masculine is this animal, there's more. The divine masculine is different. I'm talking about Mars masculinity is a lower octave, more primordial, animalistic, instinctual. And there's nothing wrong with Mars. That's a misconception, as people say. My selfish desires, my bodily desires are wrong. That's also mistaken. Part of this balancing out of this paradigm is realizing that it's not so much right and wrong. That's why we have to have these conversations. It's not so black and white. It's not so right and wrong. It's not so much the good guy versus the bad guy, and the bad guy just frickin' sent all the good guys and beat them up. And then I need to protect myself from the bad guy who's beating me up. There can be these deeper themes of being attacked, of domination, and of submissiveness that's going on with this Martian energy. And this has been on this planet as a ruling force for many, many thousands of years. Like this Mars, instinctual, I'm going to dominate, I can do it on my own. My desires come first. This is Alexander the Great. This is what we've been dominated by for so many years. And there is an interesting thing coming out of this, because we must forgive Mars. Mars is not bad. Our primordial, instinctual, animalistic desires are not bad. Our selfish desires are not bad. They're connected to you as an individual. Your individuality is not bad. Your being separate from other people is not bad. That is your truth, your creativity, your sexuality. We have to own these things, not be disempowered by other people that are squashing our truth, by religions or teachers or parents that are squashing our truth. And simultaneously, we can't have a truth that can come from a history of being squashed. Overreact. My truth has been squashed for so long that the next person who even touches my truth, I'm gonna slap. This has been the energy that's been cooking in many of us for a long time, and there's been domino effects, there's been chemical reactions, chain reactions coming from this type of defensive instinctual energy that there's nothing wrong with. But there is a paradigm shift that's happening. And this paradigm shift is the upliftment of the divine feminine principle. It's not exactly the feminist movement that we're talking about. It's the divine feminine principle. The principle of what femininity actually is. Many spiritual souls have been called to this planet in order to defend and uplift the downtrodden. A feminine principle. And this is what we talked about since the solar eclipse, September 13th, that was in Virgo, opposite to Chiron. And we said this is the healing of this divine feminine principle. The healers, both men and women, are majorly working to revive this divine feminine principle so we can achieve balance between the overinflated masculine and the downtrodden feminine principle. Now, there is a lot of stuff that we have yet to figure out and realize in terms of this balancing out. And many people think that they got it in the bag, and we're not even getting started yet. We've got to actually figure out what is the role of the woman in relationship, in love, because there are differences between man and woman. I'm not saying that inwardly anybody can be anybody depending on their individual uniqueness and energy. True. But when you start getting put into a body, there's physical difference, there's psychological differences, and it's not one better than the worse, better than the other. But we have to figure out what is the position of the female right now. And so women are taking back their power. That's been a huge part of this lunar cycle, is women taking back their power. I have not been respected in this way. I deserve respect. However, there are men, believe it or not, that are also a part of this upliftment of the divine feminine principle. And these men are in agreement with the women. You're right. You have not been respected. You have been downtrodden. And yet, there is this, now the masculinity needs to find a new role for itself. Masculinity doesn't want to be what traditional patriarchy looks like, as in the big guy with the beard who's in charge of everybody else, setting the rules and regulations, dominating the pyramid, the hierarchical pyramid, and saying, this is what you do to get to heaven, this is what you do to pass the fail. That's traditional patriarch. Big bearded, I am God, women are less than, do what I say, is the patriarch, the monarch. We've come from thousands of years of dealing with these types of individuals. Are the men that are a part of this spiritual upliftment of the divine feminine principle wanting to be that? No, we don't want to be that. But what are we? Who are we? What are we doing? How do we respect women? When you have a male body that has been conditioned by a patriarchal society, this stuff gets complicated. This stuff gets really, really important, that we need to listen and respect one another, even when it can be very difficult to do so, because our wounds and our insecurities are getting prodded a little bit. And women are getting prodded because they are saying, I'm sick of it, I want my respect back, I want equality, I want balance, I want respect from men. I want my goddess energy restored. So women are getting prodded in little ways to evoke that energy and take back my power. But again, respect one another. We're trying to achieve balance, which is in service of love. There is harmony and peace that we're trying to achieve here. Men, on the other hand, are trying to figure out how to respect women and have to deal with the collective guilt that is brought into being a man living during this time, being conditioned by patriarchal society, and then it becomes very easy to look at yourself like the bad guy. This is troubling. Well, if all the women are downtrodden and they're looking to me, demanding more respect, I feel like I've done something wrong. How do I give it to you? I want to give you respect. I want to bring balance and harmony into our relationship, and yet I don't know how yet, because our world hasn't figured it out yet. And that's what we're doing right now. We're having these conversations that are important for this to happen. What is the male of the gentleman? Yes, the gentleman is what it means to be a real man. The divine masculine principle also needs to be healed. This is a very important understanding to possess, is that the patriarchy that has been a male-dominant world on this planet for thousands and thousands of years has not been, I shouted, the divine masculine principle. It has not been the divine masculine principle. It's been a severe distortion of it. That's not real masculinity. That's not the role of man. Neither is it the role of woman to be the submissive, to be the sex kitten, to be the housewife, and to be in the background in the kitchen. Oh, well, the women aren't rational enough to have intelligent conversations about spirituality. They just work in the kitchen because that's the role of women. I don't think so. I think that that's some pretty ancient patriarchal dog shit. And we're recognizing how much this dog shit has infected so much of our life. It plays out in so many different levels. The divine feminine and divine masculine, we have to remember, is the fundamental duality from which all things become manifest and created. Therefore, this perversion of the patriarchy has infected pretty much every level of life. It's not just sex. It's not just the social roles. It's not just the gender roles. Those are the major things that I'm going to say are major causations of many other ramifications. But this stuff plays out in so many different ways. We are learning how to communicate on an equal playing field, where men and women can meet one another as reflections of one another, which is a transformation of women are and behave this way, and men are and behave this way, and much more of a coming together in men and women behave this way. Men don't talk about their emotions, only women talk about their emotions. Men are rational and intelligent, women are not as discriminate. Yes, women are more flowy and ebby, and men are hard and brittle. Men talk with a tough tone because they're the workers and they do the hard work and provide for the family. And women are the nurturers that talk softly and feed and care for the children. This division has kept us imprisoned in ideas and concepts that are different from what we really are. Being spiritual souls, we are not either man or woman, we are both. And yet we already said, you are either in a male body or a woman body, and that body in which you are born in does affect you, does affect your psychology, does affect your emotions, and most of all, most importantly, it affects how you were conditioned by this culture. And that determines which way you're going to go. Oh, well, you're a man? Get into this line. Oh, you're a woman. Get into this line. This is the expectations and obligations. This is the expectations and obligations. We have been so conditioned by such expectations and obligations for so many thousands of years. We identify with these roles that are actually separate from what the divine feminine and divine masculine actually are. And we are taking repossession of the divine in order to actually create balance, peace, and harmony, both in ourselves, as we're both masculine and feminine inwardly, and in our relationships outwardly, where one person tends to fit the male role and one person tends to fit the female role, at least in the majority of relationships here on Earth. And I'm not saying that there cannot be exceptions, because we also have to take ownership of our uniqueness that we do not choose. It is who we are. We have to take ownership of our weirdness that we did not choose. It is our nature. We have to take complete ownership of every eccentricity, every strange happenstance that happened in childhood, that led to a domino effect, that led to so many things happening. It's all a part of who we are. And we can't suppress and ignore. Men can, for example, cannot suppress and ignore the masculine physiological urge to reproduce. There has to be an understanding of it in order to channel it, in order to express it, in order to release it, not necessarily sexually, in a way that is productive, rather than simply suppress it and damn it and say, well, my psychological urges do not respect women, so I'm gonna cut my balls off. It does not work that way. Think about how much you would be disrespecting Mother Nature by cutting off any part of your body. It is the same energetically. We are an energetic individual, totally unique. And we have to take ownership of every single part of this individuality, including Mars, the hawk, who's instinctual and animalistic and has selfish, automatic defenses and desires. It's okay. It's a part of who you are. The defense mechanisms are there because we've had to defend ourselves from this culture, from this world. We've tried the best that we could. The patriarchs tried the best that they could. Before the patriarchy was a matriarchy, and the matriarchs tried the best that they could. The patriarchy resulted from the matriarchy because it wasn't perfect. And now there is a period where we're pushing away from the patriarchy because it's not perfect. So, Venus pushes into Virgo tomorrow, the same time as the moon. And this is going to bring us into a month where we are very much focusing on perfections and standards in our relationships and our own inner values. How can I do the health regiment? Yes, the schedule, the little mundane bits and pieces, the rituals that allow me to feel like I am being productive and moving forward. And this is in the service of bringing us into our ideals. Can we unite Mars and Neptune? Can we unite our highest spiritual ideals with our instinctual, selfish, little me? This is what I want to do. I'm hungry. I want to have sex. Can we integrate these together? Because the whole point is not one or the other is bad, is wrong, is in trouble. But we might find that there is some lack of harmony. We might find that we fight against ourselves and in our relationships, even the most loving, inconceivable relationships ever. There is bickering, there is disagreements that is happening. And we are recognizing that this is not a problem because we aren't perfect yet. We can't beat ourselves up because we're not perfect yet. We're not a woman who has achieved perfect balance of the divine masculine and feminine, or we're a man who might not have achieved perfect balance of the divine masculine and feminine. And when you bring those two together, no matter whether you're gender, male, female, bisexual, gay, it doesn't matter. When you bring the two principles together and you have love and harmony between the two, You are able to achieve this simultaneous, I am a unique self-autonomous individual who is doing my thing in the world. And my thing that I'm doing in the world is simultaneously contributing to the benefiting of others. The creating of art that inspires others. The creating of whatever that helps, that uplifts, that provides for others. By giving my uniqueness, I create harmony in the world. So this week is a week where we can be anticipating, detecting, feeling what's not quite lined up yet. We're trying to achieve harmony, but you're on level 10 and I'm on level 11, and we're just trying to, we're switching back and forth, and how do we get lined up? Yes, we can feel like we're spinning dishes on the little poles. Oh, is everything balanced? Well, this one's kind of leaning this way, and you gotta shift around and shift around and shift around. This is an evolutionary week. We have Jupiter trine Pluto all this week. There is growth, there is expansion, there is learning, there is development that's happening in a very powerful way this week. And we have Mercury turning direct, which is this potential for us to have turnarounds, for us to have realizations that are taking us into the future, creating new beginnings, and allowing us to achieve a new level of balance, love, and harmony. So I am very much wishing us all the best in this collective endeavor. This new moon on Monday, we want to put an intention to connect, connect, connect. Bring our uniqueness, our brilliance, that is us as an individual weirdo, and now contribute it to other people, to the world. We want to reconnect with old friends we haven't seen in a while. We want to reconnect with people that we haven't seen for a while because stuff might be forcing us to do so. Oh, things aren't easy in my relationship, time to talk with the guys. Oh, things aren't easy in my relationship, time to talk with the gals. And we're having these conversations that are actually furthering our evolution. So we can come back together in love, and we can reach a solid, similar core. So much love to you and your beloveds. Namaste.